Abraham Lincoln stands as one of the most monumental figures in American history, a leader whose vision and steadfastness helped shape the United States during its most turbulent era. His story is one of humble origins, unwavering character, and extraordinary leadership. A story that offers timeless lessons about courage, justice, and the pursuit of liberty. Born on February 12, 1809, in a small one-room log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky, Abraham Lincoln's early life was marked by hardship and perseverance. His family was poor, living on the frontier in difficult conditions that demanded constant toil and resilience. The frontier lifestyle was harsh. The Lincolns experienced the frequent challenges of farming, illness, and economic uncertainty. Education was a rarity on the frontier, and Abraham was largely self-taught. Throughout his childhood and adolescence, he borrowed books from neighbors and read whenever possible, displaying a voracious appetite for learning. He read the Bible, Shakespeare, Aesop's Fables, Pilgrim's Progress, and other classic works. Despite spending less than a year in formal schooling, his self-discipline and hunger for knowledge formed the foundation of his later eloquence and wisdom. Tragedy shaped much of Lincoln's youth. When he was just 9 years old, his mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, died of illness, a loss that deeply impacted him. His father remarried, and Lincoln had a difficult relationship with his stepmother, though he respected her for her care. These early losses hardened Lincoln's resolve to improve himself and make a meaningful contribution to the world. Working from a young age, Lincoln performed numerous physical labor jobs, including splitting rails for fences, a task so arduous that it became a nickname, the Rail Splitter. He also worked as a flatboatman on the Mississippi River, a store clerk, and a surveyor. These experiences exposed him to the lives of ordinary people and broadened his understanding of American society's varied challenges. By his early 20s, Lincoln had set his sights on the law. Without attending a formal law school, he studied law books extensively and apprenticed with established lawyers in Illinois. He was admitted to the Illinois bar in 1836 and quickly became known as a formidable lawyer. His legal career combined keen reasoning with a genuine pursuit of justice, and he earned a reputation as Honest Abe for his integrity. Lincoln's entry into politics was motivated by his growing concern over the future of the Union, and particularly the institution of slavery. He served multiple terms in the Illinois state legislature as a member of the Whig Party, advocating for economic modernization and infrastructure improvements. He was a committed nationalist who believed in preserving the Union at all costs. In 1846, Lincoln was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. During his single term, he opposed the Mexican-American War, which he viewed as an unjust and aggressive expansionist conflict. Lincoln's speech against the war was grounded in his belief that it disproportionately sought to extend slavery into new territories. After serving in Congress, Lincoln returned to Illinois to focus on law and politics. The national debate over slavery intensified following the 1854 Kansas-Nebraska Act, which allowed territories to decide on slavery themselves, effectively nullifying the Missouri Compromise. This led to violent conflict known as Bleeding Kansas and further polarized the nation. In response, Lincoln emerged as a key leader against the expansion of slavery and helped found the Republican Party, which sought to contain slavery and promote economic progress. The famous Lincoln-Douglas debates of 1858 brought him national recognition. Though Lincoln lost the Illinois Senate race to Stephen A. Douglas, the debates highlighted his strong stance against slavery's spread and articulated his vision for a united American nation grounded in equality. His arguments, particularly his assertion that the nation could not endure divided, half slave and half free, resonated widely and prepared the ground for his presidential bid. The presidential election of 1860 was one of the most consequential in American history. Lincoln's election as the first Republican president triggered a political crisis. Southern states felt threatened by his opposition to slavery's expansion and the potential eventual abolition. Beginning with South Carolina, 7 states seceded from the Union before Lincoln even took office, forming the Confederate States of America. Lincoln's presidency coincided with America's gravest constitutional and moral crisis. He faced the monumental responsibility of guiding a nation through civil war, preserving the Union, and confronting the deeply entrenched institution of slavery. His leadership was characterized by patience, determination, and a profound belief in the principles on which the nation was founded. One of Lincoln's early priorities was the preservation of the Union. He refused to recognize the legitimacy of secession, declaring it illegal and emphasizing that the Union was perpetual. The Civil War would test these ideals as brother fought brother, and millions of Americans shed blood to determine the country's future. In the early years of the war, Lincoln struggled with generals and military strategy, seeking to find the right commanders who could achieve decisive victories. Among the most significant of these was Ulysses S. Grant, whose aggressive tactics helped turn the tide for the Union. Lincoln's personal intervention in military affairs reflected his hands-on leadership style and commitment to the Union cause. Perhaps the most famous act of Lincoln's presidency was the Emancipation Proclamation, issued on January 1, 1863. This extraordinary executive order declared that all slaves in rebellious Confederate territories were forever free. Though it did not immediately free all enslaved persons, particularly in Union-held border states, it shifted the war's focus to include human freedom as a primary objective. Beyond the political and military significance, the Emancipation Proclamation had profound symbolic power. It made abolition a goal of the Union war effort and allowed for the enlistment of black soldiers, bolstering the North's manpower while reinforcing the moral imperative of the conflict. Lincoln himself saw it as a necessary and bold step, balancing legal complexities with ethical considerations. Throughout the war, Lincoln was also a masterful orator who used words to unite a fractured nation. His Gettysburg Address, delivered during the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in November 1863, stands as one of the shortest yet most powerful speeches ever given. In just a few minutes, Lincoln reaffirmed the commitment to equality, democracy, and the unfinished work of preserving liberty. Lincoln's presidency was challenged not only by the war, but also by complex political and social divisions. He faced dissent from radical abolitionists who thought he was too slow to act, politicians who wanted peace at any cost, and loyalists wary of expanding federal power. His ability to manage these conflicting pressures while maintaining focus on the end goal demonstrated extraordinary political skill. Despite the enormous demands of the presidency, Lincoln remained deeply human. He was known for his empathy, frequently visiting wounded soldiers and writing personal letters to comfort grieving families. His humility and sense of humor endeared him to many, and his image as a compassionate leader helped maintain public morale during the darkest days of conflict. In the final months of the war, as Union forces closed in on victory, Lincoln began to imagine the nation's future. He advocated a lenient plan for Reconstruction to reunite the country with malice toward none and charity for all. His vision sought to heal the wounds of war without perpetuating bitterness or hatred. Tragically, that vision was cut short. On April 14, 1865, just days after General Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse, Lincoln was assassinated by Confederate sympathizer John Wilkes Booth while attending a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. The nation plunged into mourning, losing a leader whose wisdom, courage, and humanity had steered it through its darkest hour. The death of Lincoln marked the end of an era, but also solidified his place as a symbol of American ideals. His legacy has endured not only through the abolition of slavery via the 13th Amendment, which permanently outlawed the institution, but also through his embodiment of democracy, equality, and perseverance. Lincoln's words and actions continue to inspire generations around the world. From civil rights leaders to modern politicians, his example is cited as a beacon of moral clarity and leadership under pressure. His vision of a united, free, and just nation remains a guiding ideal for those who believe in the power of democracy. His life is also a testament to the potential of self-improvement and determination. Rising from a log cabin with little formal schooling to the highest office in the land, Lincoln demonstrated that character and intellect can overcome great obstacles. His story reminds us that, in the face of adversity, dedication to truth and justice can change the course of history. In conclusion, Abraham Lincoln's impact on the United States and the world is immeasurable. He preserved a nation torn apart, redefined freedom in the modern era, and articulated ideals that remain central to the American identity. His leadership not only saved the Union, but also paved the way for a more just and equal America. As we reflect on his contributions, we are reminded that Lincoln was more than a president. He was a unifying figure whose vision of liberty and equality remains a beacon of hope and progress. His story encourages us all to strive for a better future and to uphold the principles of justice, democracy, and human dignity.